From Lagos, the nation's commercial capital, this is the News at 10. Live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight, Melinda Akilami.
Hello and welcome. Again, INEC describes performance by police and other security operatives in the conduct of the 2019 general elections as well as the polls in Kogi and Bayelsa states as poor. President Buhari says Nigeria cannot afford another civil war as he challenges the youth to brace for leadership and ignore people with narrow ethnic or regional interest. Former President Dr. Goodluck Jonathan breaks silence on the attack on his residence in Bayelsa State, ascribes action to youth rascality. And Iran denies that it shot down a Ukrainian jetliner that crashed near Tehran on Tuesday, killing 176 people. Plus, business, sports, news from Abuja, the FCT, and later from our studios in London.
On business news tonight, the Attorney General of the Federation drops multi-billion-dollar tax payments against telecoms giant MTN Nigeria.
On sports news tonight, the International Olympic Committee awards the 2024 Winter Youth Olympic Games to the South Korean town of Gangwon in its bid to bring peace to the Korean peninsula.
And from Abuja, the Director General of the National Council for Arts and Culture, Mr. Olusegun Rushewe, links court sentence on him to his refusal to relinquish the Arts and Crafts Village in Abuja to interested persons.
Ripples from last year's governorship elections in Kogi and Bayelsa states is not over yet, as the electoral umpire itself is blaming the police and other security operatives for poor conduct. The INEC chairman, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, believes that there is urgent need to adopt a new security approach for safe conduct of elections. According to him, the Commission will no longer proceed with the conduct of any election, collate or announce results, where the security is compromised and the lives of its personnel are threatened. He was speaking at a meeting in Abuja.
Our final report.
The various post-2019 general elections reports, as well as those of the recently conducted Kogi and Bayelsa state governorship elections, raise serious concerns about the ability of the police and other security agencies to keep the election process safe. It is for the purpose of appraising the performance of security agencies deployed for the conduct of elections and re-strategizing for future elections that INEC is holding this security consultative meeting in Abuja.
We reviewed the security.
The INEC chairman faults the performances of security agencies in past elections, just as he highlights the new strategies that the Commission is taking to strengthen the process and prevent compromise.
The Commission is concerned that security deployment in some of the most recent elections left much to be desired. There is more emphasis on numbers of security personnel to be deployed, but less consideration on strategic deployment to protect the process. Going forward, INEC has decided it will not proceed with the process in any constituency where the safety of voters, our personnel, and election materials is threatened.
The Electoral Act places the responsibility of election security on the shoulders of the police, but other security agencies have always assisted during elections. The need for a strong synergy among these agencies, as well as ensuring appropriate sanctions for anyone who compromises the process, cannot be overemphasized in discussing solutions to electoral security.
The area that I would call for synergy is really synergy between the security agencies performing electoral duties with the INEC officials themselves. No doubt, if we cooperate, no doubt can be greater than any security agency.
It is extremely important also for us to know that this time around, whatever gave rise to the problems we had during the last elections we must be able to deal with. And what I want to say is that there must be consequences for bad behavior.
It is hoped that the outcome of this meeting will help INEC to conduct more secured elections in the future, beginning with the January 25th court-ordered rerun elections in some states across the country.
While INEC is concerned about the conduct of future elections, the president is challenging the country's youth to prepare to take over the mantle of leadership from the older generation. President Muhammadu Buhari says the youth owe the nation a duty to keep Nigeria united in spite of pressures from various interests. He was speaking at the State House in Abuja when he received the national and zonal youth leaders of the All Progressives Congress, APC, today.
Whether we, the older people, the outgoing generation, whether we like it or not, we are going to hand it over to you. So you may as well brace up yourself for leadership. Some interest groups would maybe like to come up with very strong either ethnic, religious, or regional interest. They knew this country, we fought a civil war. At least 2 million Nigerians were killed. And I don't think anybody should joke with our firmness as one country. This problem is on your table. It's up to you to stabilize this country. God has given us a large country, fertile, with a lot of resources. All we need is to ensure that whoever gets leadership at whatever level is held accountable. And that is your duty. You don't spare anybody across ethnicity, religion, or whatever. People who are in charge of resources at whatever level must be held accountable.
The former president, Dr. Goodluck Jonathan, also has some words of advice for the youth, encouraging them to always live in peace to drive a viable economy. The former president mentioned this when some Niger Delta youth leaders paid him a visit at his foundation in Yenagoa, the Bayelsa State capital. The meeting was also a moment for him to speak on the December 24th, 2019 attack on his hometown in Otueke, which he described as unfortunate. He says the attack, which left one soldier dead, came as a surprise to him, as he still does not understand why anyone would want to hurt him.
I never expected that people will come and attack me. Just sometimes people create confusion as if boys attacked a military post. That is not just a military post. They are my personal guides, so it's not a military post. Though we will not even expect people to attack any military post anyway. But these ones are my personal guide. So nobody could say somebody's interested in the gun. No, their motive was beyond carrying gun. I don't buy that idea at all. I don't buy that idea at all. But I'll plead with you because you're formidable youth leaders. In one way or the other, you assist the people who are looking into the matter. Because when people commit certain offenses, especially if it is criminal in nature, and no admonition, then you'll be encouraged to continue to do that. But if there's admonition, it will discourage others to do the same thing. Just like you mentioned, we lost one soldier, one other one injured. That one is still in the Federal Medical Center, but it's recovering. Ordinarily, they're supposed to allow us to rest. There's no reason to come and attack the former president. There's no reason at all. So there must be some maybe a bit of rascality or stupidity that must have made them to do that.
Staying with security issues, the Nigerian Air Force says its fighter jets have recorded yet another major hit against insurgents in the restive northeast state of Borno. In a statement, the Air Force said that some portions of an Islamic State of West Africa province tactical headquarters at Kolaram suffered a hard hit, with some of the group's fighters killed. The Air Force claims that the operation was executed in 2 waves of attack, carried out on January the 4th and the 5th, following successive days of intelligence missions that identified compounds within the settlement suspected to be housing the terrorist leaders. Structures within the settlement were also destroyed. Meanwhile, Wednesday night's gruesome murder of 12 residents of Kuben village in Mango local government area of Plateau State is still a huge concern to the state governor as he blames cattle rustlers for the killings. Governor Simon Lalong says youths in the area had apprehended some rustlers with a large herd of cattle and handed them to security agents, but those who escaped returned to attack the community. The governor spoke to State House correspondents after a meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari today. He explains that the state government is going to re-strategize on how to tackle the challenge, while the northern states will also embrace community policing.
Our little investigation also confirmed that it was a group of cattle rustlers, a very group of cattle rustlers in very huge number that rustled over 100 cows. The rustlers were escaped. Part of them came back and started attacking and killing people in the villages. So it was quite unfortunate. At the time they got there, security too got there. I must say that the security did very well because they were also there. Otherwise, the level of casualties would have been much. Those people had heavy arms, and the youths had no arms, but they did their best. We agreed to key into the community policing. And at the level of the committee, they are already very far. And each state is already putting herself very well in respect to the community policing. The one in the south, I've not read the document. I can't claim that I know the details of that document. So it may vary from south to the north, but in the north, we are trying to look for a comprehensive attempt to also help in augmenting what the federal government is doing.
For Governor Aminu Masari of Katsina State, his government plans to use technology to unmask criminals who connive with armed bandits to terrorize innocent citizens. The governor is also promising to deal with accomplices of bandits who harm innocent people, warning that the state government is aware that smugglers work with bandits to clear road for their unlawful activities. In Lagos, safety of lives and property is also a concern. That perhaps explains why the Lagos State Task Force Environmental Monitoring and Enforcement Team, as well as other agencies, are pulling down shanties and illegal structures in some parts of the state, this time in the Ikoyi area. The task force chairman says the order was given by Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu to get rid of unapproved structures and miscreants in that axis.
Ikoyi is one of the highbrow areas in Lagos State, with beautiful scenery and structures. In the midst of all this beauty, there are some things that are not welcome: illegal structures. The task force and other state agencies are here to pull them down. In Murtala Mohammed Drive, Ikoyi, over 30 vehicles are found to be parked on a setback by car dealers. The owners were immediately taken to court and found culpable. A makeshift relaxation spot was also not spared.
Just to sanitize entire Lagos. It's not going to be Ikoyi and Victoria alone. After this one, another place. So just to detect or dislodge criminal hideouts, all these impediments, nuisance, things that have been causing probably gridlock, environmental nuisance. That's what we are here to do. This is a message to everybody. I have started from here, and I'll be here for the next 6 months.
The team then moves to Women's Road to continue its operation, where some of the state agencies involved in the cleanup say the exercise will continue until the mission is accomplished.
Lagos and LNSC, we have been mandated to sustain so that the ugly thing we are experiencing now will not spring up again across Victoria and Ikoyi, and we are ready to do that.
We are going to use this place as a beat, and part of our rules is that some people will be there in the morning and some people will be there in the afternoon, and we are going to do a patrol in the night to make sure that in the morning, in the afternoon, and the night they don't come back here.
The special cleanup committee set up by Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu is saddled with the responsibility of removing all illegal structures on setbacks and walkways and prosecute anyone found guilty of setting them up.
In part two, after the break, we revisit the federal government's directive on the repositioning of the broadcast industry in the country, and we have a former Director General of the Nigeria Television Authority, Dr. Tony Iradia, to examine the issues. Plus, Magistrate Court orders remand of the suspected killers of a female student of the Lagos State University, Favour Oladele, in Ilesha Correctional Service Center. That's in a moment. Stay with us.